Hello, Autumn. How's it going, man? I have no idea how far I'll get on this because, like, all I have in my head is the overall scene, but not like the entire scene, but not actually the composition for this image or anything. And so I'm gonna have to kind of just sketch around and see what I like. Did I? Oh. Sorry, I'm just looking at that line and I was like, dude, did I really just sketch it that straight? And I guess I did. I thought, I almost felt like there was some kind of a snap. Nope. Weird. Anyway, I don't really want this to just be a boring, like, skyline picture is the thing. That's what I'm kind of like struggling with conceptually, because I could have it where she's already basically, like, sort of at the very beginning, she kind of wakes up because she's used to waking up early, and she climbs up to the roof of her loft, and she's kind of just looking out over the city, and then she basically does like a morning free run, like kind of every morning. It's her form of a jog. So yeah, it is Dakota. Yeah, so it is Dakota, and so I'm just trying to, like, I was gonna have it be like a quieter moment, you know, where she's kind of standing on the roof. Here's the tricky part, and obviously I can't really do both because there's this big, like, plume of, like, steam here, right? Coming up from the massive terraforming refinery. So it's just constantly pumping different kinds of, like, you know, chemicals and what's the word I'm looking for? Elements and stuff like that into the air, right? So and they have these terraformers, like, all over on the moons and the different worlds, right? But I mean, by this point, obviously, like, it's enough that people can breathe, and it has been that way for probably a few generations by now. But they don't stop doing this. So the idea is, on this particular moon, the light is such that it's kind of almost like always sort of has this golden hour, magic hour kind of vibe. And when the sun catches these steam plumes, it just kind of, like, sets them alight, right? So initially I was saying, cool, get that, maybe we could get some kind of, like, low mountains or tall hills back there, right? And it's sort of right before sunrise, so technically the sun for us would be just below the mountains, but catching this plume. However, I also like the idea of the sun being behind us, right? Because that's one thing that Joseph Spuckfitch kind of points out, is that sunsets and stuff are not really that are not that interesting to paint. They're beautiful to look at, but they're terrible subjects for painting, right? It's a little different when you're doing digital because you're actually painting with light, so you can get that across. But it always kind of says, like, look at a beautiful sunset, appreciate it, and then turn around and paint whatever is behind you because it's infinitely more interesting. HB 0987, hello. You know, I have not gotten too much of a chance to really dig into 5X. Right, it just came out Monday, and work has been crazy. So I haven't really had a chance to dig in. Like, I'd love to get into messing around with their oh, whoops, I didn't mean to do it on that layer, but that's okay. I haven't gotten a chance to mess around with, like, their new brush stuff, the blur brushes or whatever. So I'd like to do that. I messed around briefly with the chromatic aberration, and I like it, and I was super stoked because I like playing with a bit of color fringing. But I have to say, I like Photoshop's more. There's a luminosity to it that Procreate's doesn't have. Procreate's feels purely like they're just shifting the channels, right? But Photoshop's is based on a photographic phenomenon, right? That you get towards the edges of certain types of lenses and stuff, and you can see it actually if you look in the water too, right? Things that are kind of like off to the sides and stuff, you can see that color fringing. And so Procreate's like, you can do some cool stuff with it. They don't quite do that edge blur, Autumn, like a little bit, and you can mess with that, I think, a little bit, in terms of you can blur it a bit, but it doesn't. Color fringing from lenses has a luminosity, almost like a subtle soft light layer or a subtle add layer or something, you know, like it's not just a color channel shift. So that's kind of the only thing I'm not super into with that, with Procreate 5X. But I don't know. I'm sure there are ways around that. Anyway, I'll keep sketching because I can talk and sketch, right? I can do that. So the other idea I had was that it's actually more like maybe a little after that scene, and meaning that quiet scene, and we actually have her like doing her free run. And we could still get the city back there, right? Yeah, so we could have her kind of, I don't know, vaulting over something. That looks kind of boring though. Like, I mean, I still kind of like the idea of that quieter sort of moment, but at the same time, Like, I'm just wondering if there is a way to add a little more drama to it. And these terraformers I want, like, they're massive, right? Like, really, really huge. You know, like, these would be essentially skyscraper buildings here, and these things are just, like, big, so pumping out. And so one of the things I'll have to do whenever I do get into the details is really, like, get into that detail on the steam, right? To kind of push that scale. Because, you know, sci-fi. And, you know, if you want to add movement to stuff, just tilt it a little bit. I hate to resort to that, but sometimes it works, you know? So, I mean, that's a possibility to get this kind of stuff in. Plus, I mean, one, she can be a lot smaller too, right? Because I have to decide, well, is this about her or is this about the whole scene? In my head, it's really more about the scene. This is not like a character design kind of a thing, you know? So, depending on and realistically, like, given that, I mean, she could be way off here too, you know, which would be kind of fun to sort of push the character off to the side and maybe get more into the sort of the luminosity and the light that we could play with. So I don't mind pushing her kind of right up against the frame a bit. Adhere to our perspective. It's always a good thing. And she basically, like, she's essentially former special ops. And she did not leave by choice, mind you. So she still has a bit of their cool high-tech gear. So when she goes on her free run, she has this, like, what I'm calling strand armor. And just for, like, joints and stuff, so she can still kind of do rolls and stuff, and she doesn't have to worry about what the hell she's rolling on, right? She doesn't have to worry about completely, like, fucking herself up. Yeah, but this is literally at like maybe 5 in the morning, 4:45 in the morning, so there's nobody out, and that's the reason she does it at this time, is because she likes how quiet it is overall. So there's not gonna be anybody, but you know, I'll get into some stuff that we can at least recognize, you know, because we'll still have windows and shit like that back there, and I mean, at this, going that far back, you know, what I'll have to do is kind of create some just repetitive shapes as we go back, right? So that we can kind of see those shapes step away from us, and we understand what we're seeing. Although I guess there could be some workers or something, but I think at this, with how far away she is from it, I don't even know if we'd really see them. And I'm not actually going to detail this thing out that much. I want this to be a bit looser. I think that's one of the reasons that I'm not like I kind of want to paint around a bit and just see, sort of, because like I don't mind this idea of her about to set off, but I'm still not totally sold on that being, you know, the moment for me to paint on this. Hello, Aaron Roberts. Oh, right on. How are you liking character design? I keep wanting to hit Command S. And I'm like, wait, it's Procreate. It saves automatically. Thanks for following me, Space Jonk. One of the reasons I don't hate the idea, though, of having the sun kind of just beyond view back here somewhere, is that it wouldn't be catching her, so what we would get would be mostly the ambient light from this sky that's just starting to lighten. And I think it would be really fun because all this sky in the background there would be light, and she would actually be fairly dark against it, but with all these nice, like, cool lights against a really warm, bright sky, and I like that. I think it just has a lot of lighting potential. I just have to kind of figure out exactly how I want to show her. And eventually, like, I also want to get into finally, like, doing some legit designs, character designs for this too. It's been a while, and the story has changed over the years. It used to be a lot more Western than it is now. There's still aspects to that, but the Western part, I think, comes comes more in the themes rather than the actual design. So, you know, there's stuff I need to kind of rethink, revisit, all that. It'll be fun. I'll get there eventually. And I mean, whatever. I'm approaching this as a written novel, so technically I don't have to design anything. But you know, I'm a visual person. I like designing shit. It's fun. So I don't hate something like this. I'll have to figure out, like, this rooftop would not just be empty like that, you know? We'd have all kinds of shit going on, meters and whatever they have on rooftops. Rooftop stuff. I'd probably put some plants and things too. I want to get, like, I'm just thinking of these sort of places that are terraformed, like they have technology and they have infrastructure, but some of the ones on like the range moons, right, that are a little away from the center, they're not as well off, right? So I feel like people would do those like big garden walls and stuff like that just to have some green stuff, because I don't think you would get forests and shit growing yet. So yeah, I mean, honestly, you know, for character design, you know, camera angles and stuff don't really come into play much. But yeah, if you're doing keyframe stuff, then you have to be aware of camera lenses and those kinds of things, and how to push the perspective, and if you want a wide angle lens or a long lens, and you know, all that stuff for sure. And honestly, like, schools can try all they want. They're never going to keep up with the trends, because realistically, you know, say someone's starting right now, in 4 years things are going to be pretty different. So by the time they graduate, you know, there's always going to be catching up, and no one in the industry expects you to know everything about the industry, you know, when you're first hired on. So I think the most they can do is just try and give them the best fundamentals that they can, so that, because it's all about problem solving, by the time you get into the industry, whether you're doing character design or environments or keyframe illustration or story illustration or whatever you're doing, it's all about problem solving. So as long as you have those strong fundamentals, and you know, you have the tools to solve whatever problem comes your way, you know, or you like know where to look to find the answers, like, that's kind of the most important thing. And in terms of character design, yeah, you better know your anatomy. You know, you don't have to memorize, you don't have to know every single muscle and bone, you know, but you have to be aware of them, and you have to have enough understanding to be able to draw that stuff accurately, for sure. So but you know, like, I work with Arthur Kell in advertising, and you know, in terms of like bringing on anyone new onto the team, you know, we tend to look more like, do they have the fundamentals? Because, you know, there's intricacies and details to each industry that you can't expect a newcomer to know. So like we can teach that shit. But if they have the fundamentals, then we know we can teach them everything they need to know, about what we do. If they don't have the fundamentals, that means a huge uphill battle on our part to teach those and, get them kind of up to where they need to be. And with the breakneck speeds and high octane kind of environment of advertising, we don't really have the time to teach the fundamentals, unfortunately. So yeah, we definitely rely on people having that shit. So I don't hate this. I still don't hate this either. I kind of like that lower angle, right? Because the horizon line, we raised it up in the other one. Kind of like that low angle. That's kind of fun, and we get more of that. Well, better be on the right layer. We get more of this steam plume, which is a big it's a feature. So it does make sense to kind of give that a bit more space. I also want some stuff coming from other, it's not just from there. There are other smokestacks and whatnot. So I kind of like this too. One thing that would be kind of fun is technically she's a bit higher than the buildings that are directly around her, so we can play with them sort of going down a hill or something. So I still kind of like this one also. I think I want to figure out, at least try and figure out something that's more active, though, too, just to see. Which one, Autumn? Which one feels like a selfie? This one? She's like, selfie. She's like, active life. Am I right? No, she's not doing a selfie. It would be funny though. She can't, dude. She's an outlaw. She can't go posting selfies. That's pretty funny. Alright, got a little warm. Why is it warm in here? Probably because my thermostat was set to 78. I don't want it to be 78. Alright. Alright. Trying to think of if I want her literally just just starting out, you know, and or do I want her, like, again, more active? I do still like that kind of low horizon line, though. I think that's kind of fun. You don't get a whole lot of the city that way, but that's okay. Get what counts, right? Maybe we move our terraformer over there. A few kind of smokestacks and shit, and that would be quite the wind to move that large of a plume of steam. So I don't know. Maybe we don't overthink it to that degree, though. Make her a bit smaller. Pay attention to our perspective here. Or she could be doing that, what do they call that thing where they just go like directly ahead over, like with both their arms. There's a name for that move, right? Where they just have their knees tucked up. That looks boring and static. Oh. Okay, I haven't figured out why my iPad does this, but it's like randomly the screen will just kind of darken a bit. And I look, and it's not. Like the brightness is all the way up. I don't understand it. I don't like it. I disapprove. I'm hesitant to like get too specific with what she's doing, because it's hard to make that shit read. Autumn, as you and I both know, every time they're like, oh yeah, have them doing like a cool parkour move, and then we do it and they're like, I don't know, it just kind of looks like they're floating or something. We're like, well, yeah, no shit. That's the whole point of parkour, is that they're always kind of in control. Like, sorry, unless you see the entire movement, it's not actually that interesting. You know, unless you have them doing some like crazy, like, you know, inverted, who knows what, right? And then you're just like, there, she's not even like on the thing, and then it's just kind of like, what the fuck is the point of that? No. That's one of the reasons I'm like, I don't know if her doing some crazy move buys me anything for this particular scene, because this scene is more about a mood and less about specifically what she's doing, you know. So, but I think it's always a good idea to test things out. See if you can make it work. After you give it a few tries, if it really isn't gonna work, cool, move on. You know? No one telling us what to do here. We get to do whatever the fuck we want. You know? That's what I was... Gotta get that shoulder back. I mean, you know, I don't hate the idea of this. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have considered it to begin with. But I'm just not sure if it's what I want to do. But I'm not opposed to it either. I always personally gravitate toward quieter scenes myself. I like the mood of that. And there's no reason I couldn't do both of these, honestly, like, because she takes a while on her free run. It's like she basically goes to a few locations. We find out pretty quickly that part of it is that she's constantly scouting what would be a couple potential escape routes should she need it. So, what color is my cowboy hat for real? Well, it depends. I have two hats. The one's not really a cowboy hat. Hang on. Let's see. So, my main one that I wear is this color, brown, I guess. It's made out of palm, right? This is my Stetson. But I also have another brown one that's a sort of, it's not a fedora because the brim is much larger than a fedora. It's more like an Indiana Jones hat. And then I have more of a Japanese style flat brim, you know, which I wear a lot lately because I love this thing, but this is gray. And then I have another Stetson that I never wear because I don't know when I would wear this thing. But this is like a real Stetson. Well, the other one's a real Stetson too, but... So yeah, I don't know which hat you were referring to, Autumn. Those are my hats. Autumn, don't you have the same hat? The palm Stetson one? Or did you get a different one? I thought you had the same one. But, so in terms of a keyframe thing, so far, still kind of liking the first one. Yeah, I always hate it when I like the first one the most. I don't know why. I always feel like no, they should get better as I develop the idea. I really don't like it when I like the first one the most. Alright, so cut and paste. But one thing we can do is make her not quite dominate as much. Oh, go away. I don't know what that is. They've added all these new kinds of things and I don't know what they are and what they do and why I would want them. No, some of them I do know. It's basically, I do like that they finally added snapping and stuff, so you can make things more precise and you don't have to just fucking eyeball everything, because that was pretty annoying. Especially when you were used to things snapping in Photoshop and you could just move so much quicker. Sorry, I'm just debating. I do have to pay attention to where that floor would be. I think that would work, perspective-wise. So I do kind of like this one. I might start tightening this one up because I'm digging it. And no, she doesn't have like bobby socks on. This is her knee pads and stuff with the strand armor. That kind of snakes out. Right, so the idea is that with the Black Ops teams, they could wear essentially what would be lightweight kind of armor and only have to have a few sort of plated areas, right? Because then they would have their elbow pads, their knee pads, their gloves with these kind of wrist braces where the armor would snake out from there. Some kind of a fucking, I don't know what, graphene nanofiber high-tech whatever bullshit. You don't know what strand armor is, dude? Come on. No, but you got the same. I know Rob ended up getting the same Stetson as me. I thought you did too. Or did you get a black one? You got a black hat. For some reason I thought you got the same one. Maybe I was thinking of Rob. Did Nightbot? Wow, Nightbot is just not doing its job. What's the deal? Good Nightbot. Nightbot, you suck. I'll do it myself. All the links, mostly. Folks, you can follow me in places. You can check out the shop. Oh man, I gotta get that third shirt up. I keep forgetting. I'd gotten a test done. I love the cut on the shirt that I tested on, but the material is like kind of scratchy and it's not a shirt that I would want to wear all the time. It sucks because I prefer the cut to the American Apparel shirts. The test one I did was on a Gildan shirt, but the cotton is so scratchy. I'm like, dude, I can't sell this. So I might have to stick with the American Apparel, even though I don't like how long the shirt is. Now, if you get the shirt, personally, I recommend just putting it through a hot wash and a hot dry cycle to shrink it, because it actually shrinks up and gets a better shape. That's what I have been doing personally. But I also, it depends on what people like, right? We all have our own preferences. I think I'll get some like plants and stuff, you know. Maybe different people that live in the building have kind of turned some of this into like a green space, you know. And we're gonna get her kind of looking off. She's not like just looking down. She's not looking at camera. She's gonna be looking up, you know. Have her hair pulled back. Her workout attire. I'm just trying to figure out the overall sort of silhouette vibe that I want in this compositionally, not just with her. With her, it's pretty straightforward. but compositionally I gotta make sure I'm happy with this shit. Good. Get the ladder over here. And actually I'm thinking I don't know if it's a straight up and down kind of a ladder. I feel like if there's actual roof access, because there's potted plants and shit, so there's got to be some kind of better roof access than a ladder. So I'm thinking more of like maybe a fire escape kind of a thing, you know, where people can kind of like just use their fire escapes, right, to get up. That makes more sense to me. And this is also gonna contrast a bit. Like there's another, like she's not here very long in the story. Not long at all, actually. She's gonna be here for about 2 chapters, maybe. And so this is gonna contrast pretty heavily with, you know, one of the cities that we spend a bit more time in, which is not nearly as nice as this one. This one's got the nice golden hour that's going to be going on. It's going to be a bit cleaner, which is kind of weird considering it's like, this is actually Delhi Prime, right? So strong kind of like Indian sort of thing, but not like actual New Delhi, because New Delhi is not the cleanest city in the world. At least last time I was there, it wasn't. But that, you know, that'll be kind of fun. A fun sort of contrast, I think. We think. Alright, so let's the city I'm probably not gonna like worry about doing a lot of cleanup, because one, city design is not my specialty. So when I get into that, like this whole thing I want to be a little looser anyway. I'm not gonna like detail the shit out of it. And in that regard, like I could just start like painting her. I don't have to clean up the drawing, but I kind of want to. They have a shit. I forget where it is, because it's not. Damn it. So they used to have a color option, and I think they moved it, and I don't remember where it is. But what we can do, actually, I don't know why. I don't know why I even struggled with that, because whatever. I'm just saying, if I don't want to clean up the drawing, I could just start painting. So should move this, like, give this an actual color as a base layer, you know. Them's my thoughts. So, cool. I got nothing. The chat, if it had to translate, I could translate from what looks like Russian. But I can't even read your name. Hello. Photo bashing and 3D modeling for quick composition. You know, Aaron, it depends on the goals, right? And honestly, I personally don't like to photo bash, but I've done it before because sometimes you just don't have time to do it any other way. It is a different skill, so you have to learn how to do it properly, you know, because it's very easy to make it look terrible. But like in the film industry, in concept art, for the most part, like you kind of have to, because they expect things at such a high level of finish so quickly that I don't think you have any other choice. Autumn, I think you're drunk, dude. And I mean, hell, with 3D modeling, cool, you know, for laying out a environment, absolutely. Like, do it, you know. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think there is a benefit to learning to do the stuff kind of freehand personally, but I don't know. Again, like, they expect such a high level of finish fairly quickly most of the time that you know, I don't think it's a bad skill to learn. You know, I still kind of want to detail out her drawing a bit more. I just can't help myself. I'm a character guy, so, you know. Oh, that's why. I was like, why isn't that one part? Probably because I worked on a couple of different layers. That's why. I always do that. I'll like separate things and then I don't pay attention to my own. Now I really wish they had the cut and paste option down here at the bottom. They have copy and paste, but not cut and paste. So cut and paste, you have to do that annoying 3-finger swipe down. And I hate doing that because it doesn't always work. So we'll make this all the same color. We will merge down. Is this alpha locked still? It is. Okay. Alright, here we go. Here we go. Back on track. A good channel for animation. You know, I don't see a lot of people. Oh, well, you're coming from YouTube. Shit, I don't know. I mean, Aaron Blaze does a lot of animation stuff, and you know, he's a former Disney animator, so it's hard to go wrong with that. I think it depends on what kind of animation you're looking for. Modern Day James has been doing some animation, and he's been doing some really cool stuff, and his channel is always a good one to follow. He's not in here, obviously. But, yeah. Aaron Blaze art. And yeah, Modern Day James is, you know, he's been doing a lot of cool stuff. So, I could recommend him. So, I don't think I'm gonna go super tight on this. I just want to get a little more specific and tilt her head up a little more. Oh, you know what we should do? Let's try this. Ooh, how fun! Yay! I love it. I love it! Thanks, Procreate. How fun is that? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not worried about this one. It's just a matter of, you know, really figuring it out. Switch. I'm so used to like. Oh, I forgot. She's got it. She's got her Lennon's strapped on too. So we'll have to get those in there. Right. Because she goes on her her free run, but it's the HUD that she can put up on her glasses that kind of allows her to do that. That calls out roots and shit that she can take. So kind of a key element there. And of course she can lighten and darken them because, you know, sci-fi. That's the answer to everything. Science fiction. Fictional science. And she actually has these little kind of, they're going to be almost like studs in her ears that she always has on, and what they basically fuck with facial recognition, right? Because, you know, this is way in the future. They have face rec everywhere and all that stuff. So all it does is basically just kind of displace the light just enough to mess with facial rec, right? But not so much that it would send up flags, right? Because if it catches like some severe altering of light, then it'll send a red flag up, and eventually someone might take a closer look. So I said this was not a character design thing, but there are little details that I want to get in there because, you know, story relevance. Address her proportions a little bit because she got a little short. That's fine. That should be an easy fix, I think, because it's mostly just here. Why? It doesn't look like... Did the screen darken? Like, I want to know if it's an iPad thing, or if you guys noticed, like, if the whole thing just got, like, kind of darker. Well, yeah, she's not tall. She's only, like, 5'5", but she was looking like she was about 5'2", and I don't want that. Because I'm not going like, I don't care about the whole, you know, 6.5 to 7 heads. I'm like, no, not everyone is actually those proportions. That's an average. Some people are more, some people are less. So I tend to go more off of like, okay, do I want them to feel tall or do I want them to feel a little shorter? And she's not tall, you know. There's another character that we meet that she becomes friends with who is, and she is tall. She's like 5'10 or 5'11, you know, but I want that height difference between them. So we just gotta... I've been kind of sitting with these characters for years, so there's certain things where I'm like, nope, that's not the character. And I gotta get the character right. We're gonna get the armor and stuff in there. I just kind of need to get her proportions working the way they should. It's funny to me. It always happens. Like I'll do a rough sketch. I'm like, yeah, that looks good, and then I start detailing it out. I'm like, dude, what the hell? It looked good. Those proportions are not right. And it always happens. I mean, for the rough, it doesn't matter terribly, right? Hello, Sarah. Welcome. Sorry, I was all caught up. Yeah. Archer Kell gotcha. It is Dakota. Kind of finally getting my head back into my projects. I'm like, okay, you know what? I've been doing art outside of work. I need that art to now be relevant rather than just random one-offs. Even though, like, those are necessary sometimes too, right? And we'll still do some of those. But I'm like, these projects are not going to happen unless I make them happen. So let's make them happen. And yeah, as Autumn said, she is getting ready for her morning free run. This is like just before the sun rises. Kind of more of a keyframe illustration, sort of story moment. Not so much character design, but you know, there's always a little bit of that. especially when it's a scene that I haven't really tackled or whatever, you know. So we will get and basically my thought with this like strand armor stuff that kind of, you know, like in this case she's got her gloves, but then she has these like wrist links kind of that she puts on, and then the strand armor kind of snakes out of that, and I want it to look almost like muscle fibers. You know, that's kind of my idea with it. It's not. I'm sure it's been done somewhere before, but whatever. I don't care. But I'm sure somewhere we can find armor, sci-fi armor that looks like muscle fibers, right? Not my problem. Not my chair, not my problem. What would I do without Autumn? I don't know. I would probably be bored and seeing how long I can make my old ass 2015 iMac last, not even considering a PC. Half my inside jokes would not work and would fall on deaf ears. Yeah, I mean, the list could go on. The world would be a darker place. Now, the only thing I haven't really figured out I mean, there's a lot of things I haven't really figured out. But that's, you know, a different, heavier conversation. But with the strand armor, like, what I haven't quite figured out yet is how it works around the shoulders. And I'm thinking it's more of kind of like a smaller one. I'm just too much of a fan of these shapes for shoulder pads. So I'm thinking it might be something... Whoa, and my screen just went brighter again. No, doesn't look like you guys can see a difference. Weird. So it's like literally the way it's displayed to me. And at one point I thought maybe it was like the light meter near the camera that was doing it, but whatever. Random, annoying. Add it to the list of shit my iPad is glitching out on. And it's kind of always done it though, even when it was new. It doesn't do it often, but it does it, and it's annoying. So, anyway, iPad. So I was saying, strand armor. So normally, like with a full set of armor, she would have some stuff on her arms, but for the purposes of her free run, she is using only kind of the lighter sort of things, and I think maybe she'll have... something that goes here. Gotta figure it out. Gotta figure it out. Yes. That is... what? 17 years of friendship, man. 17 years. 2003. Like, almost exactly. September of 2003. First term at Art Center. When we met. She's also got her 5.0s, her 5.0 taser gloves, so like the knuckles, basically, if she punches someone, it's like basically getting hit by a taser. I mean, you know, one of the nice things with tech, and this is like a real life thing, this isn't just because it's sci-fi, but it can, you know, it starts to even the playing field a little bit. You don't have to just be some big fucking brawler dude, you know what I mean? And it can be believable, right? So like, hey, if she knows how to fight, which she does, you know, 10 years in the Outer Legion and former Sergeant Chief, Spec Ops, you know, badass. She knows how to fight. And then give her some fucking taser gloves and shit on top of it, and doesn't matter how big the opponent is. What matters, though, potentially, is the reach, right? 5'5", and if she goes up against someone who's like 6'7", well, it's gonna present its own kind of problems. She can still stand, like, hold her own, but she's got to be careful because 6'7" reach is that arm got longer. We don't want that. Let's think about perspective. Trying to think of where it got longer. See, there it goes again. By the way, and this took me a while to figure out, in Procreate, when you have a small selection like this, and if you tap in the middle and try and move, it'll rescale. Almost always. And all you have to do is actually tap anywhere else on the canvas to move it around. And it took me a while because I was so used to Photoshop where I'm like, no, if it's selected and I tap outside, it's gonna deselect, and yeah. Anyway. Knees. And these strands will get much more detailed, by the way. These are placeholders. Well, I say that, and I actually have no idea how detailed I'm gonna go on this image, to be honest. There's a chance I might not be able to help myself, and I might want to start kind of detailing it out more than I had initially intended. That's okay. There is no one telling me I can't. Although you would think she would maybe have some kind of a shin guard, because I feel like you would need and want a shin guard if you're free running. So I should consider that. Maybe that could come up from an ankle thing, because she's got the wrist links here, so maybe she's got some ankle ones. If you've ever scraped your shin, that shit ain't fun. Man, remember all those ways you could get hurt as a kid that were like a real concern? Like, you might scrape your shin, or you might jam your finger. Like, when was the last time you jammed your finger? Unless you play basketball a lot or something. I haven't played in years, so... But I remember, oh, that hurt so much. Your finger would swell up, and ugh. I hated that shit. But I loved basketball. Word. Alright. That's enough. That's enough for her. Let's make our... Oh. Okay. A little annoying that this doesn't snap to the frame, I will say. Procreate. Oh. And yeah, let's not draw on my thing. Right? Like, you would think it would snap to the frame. But it doesn't. So that's a little weird. Oh. And it won't go any smaller than that? That's also weird. Okay, so not a perfect setup, but it's cool. I dig it. Allows me to zoom in without worrying about losing sight of the whole image, right? Because that's my only thing with Procreate, and it's not a Procreate thing, it's an iPad thing, right? 12.9-inch screen. I would love a 17-inch iPad. For me, that would be like perfect. Are you listening, Apple? They're always listening, I'm sure. All right, so we can actually just use this as a base. That's fine. Don't matter. Are we alpha locked? Or are we on the wrong layer? No, wrong layer. Huh. Just erase some of these extraneous marks. Lighten her up a little bit. Because I want to start painting the city. I'll get back to her after. Right. Usually what I'll do in something like this, I think I'd done it with our Cyber Elf girls. I kind of went back and forth a little bit, right? Like I did the line work on them, flatted them, and then got the city to a certain place. Basically just pushed it enough to read the way that I wanted. Then I got back to the girls, finished them out, and then finished out the city, kind of based on the amount of detail that we had on the main figures, right? Because I didn't want the city to be as detailed as them, but it needed to be detailed enough to not look out of place, right? So that's usually my approach. She's actually got this kind of ragged, asymmetrical haircut. Obviously, she has it pulled back here, but yeah. So I'll take a. Let's look. We gotta finish that served cold too. Where are my prints? Where are my prints? And that stuff? No. Maybe. Wasn't here, was it? No. Oh, probably the one labeled prints. How about that? I'm pretty sure that was my approach. Let's see here. Always nice to kind of have a refresher. Does this have the entire process though? It's trying to load it. It's like, wait, you want me to do what? Want me to load like a 45-minute... No? Nothing? Weird. I may have done the wrong one. I don't understand. It just doesn't want to load the oh, there we go. Alright, so let's see. We drew the girls. There's Quinn. And we flatted them. Yeah, and then I basically just went to town on that city. And we're gonna have a pretty similar lighting scenario, come to think of it, in this one. Though I'm not gonna go as crazy with the sky color. I want to simplify the sky a lot more in the colors. Yeah, and then we detailed our girls out. Finished them one by one. Quinn. And then went back to the city there. Okay. Alright. Alright. Cool. Word. Little side excursion there. We got to finish her too at some point, but with her, I feel like I need to get more of a tilt because I want it to be more of an upshot, and where she's getting a little too leveled out, so I'm gonna have to rework some of that stuff. I may have to actually rework most of it, because maybe not. I think if I get the alright, if I get that curve kind of looking up, a little more tilt, it's gonna be all about the perspective of everything. Can probably get that across. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Aaron, in this particular case, it's native to Procreate. If you use a Mac, you can actually, it's built into QuickTime. You can do either a new movie recording and choose your source, or you can do a screen recording in QuickTime. Yeah, if you use a PC, like Autumn is saying, you can do it with OBS. You can either choose to capture a portion of your screen, you can choose a window. OBS, Autumn, correct me if I'm wrong, OBS tends to compress a bit, though I think there are options where it doesn't do that. Like, have you had it where it's a one-to-one capture? I don't think I ever tried it with the settings like cranked up. In my experience, it tended to kind of have some compression, but again, I think my settings were not all the way up. So, you know, I have to imagine there's a way to just capture it pretty true to what you're seeing on screen. Just given all the settings that OBS has. But yeah, if you're on a Mac, then you can just open up QuickTime, and I think it's just under the new, in the toolbar. Under new, you can choose new movie recording or new screen recording, or they have one other option that I don't remember. Alright, so let's kick the opacity way down on this, because I'm going to start just painting underneath, because I want, what do I want? I want to keep the shape. So first things first, I'm just trying to think of the process here. Probably the sky. And I want that, even though this is not on Earth, so we could technically have any kind of crazy color we want, but I want something that, you know, kind of familiar, right? So I want a bit of that pre-dawn kind of light, which tends to get a little sort of teal, you know? Like, there's a difference between sunrise and sunset. Sunset is usually a lot hotter. No, I don't want to do two suns because it is hard, like, depending on the type of sci-fi you're doing, right? Star Wars could get away with all that stuff because it was fantasy in space, right? Swords and sorcery, and damn any science at all, because gravity exists in space, apparently, for all the dogfights and ships banking in space, and it doesn't make any sense if you think about it too much. But no one questions it, except the Trekkies, who are like, that's not science. It's not how space works. Even a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So you can get away with that stuff in Star Wars. I don't know if you have something that has a little, and I'm not going hard into the science. That's not really what this story is about. But it's gritty enough that I think people would or could. And I have no idea if there is some scenario where a solar system would be livable with two suns. The sheer amount of gravity that would be happening. I don't know if that's possible. I have someone I could ask. My buddy Kayland, astrophysicist at JPL. Working on ways to explore the oceans of Io and what's the other one? And Cepheids and Cephalitis. I don't know. So I could probably ask him and see if there is a scenario where there could be habitable planets and moons in a two-sun solar system. No, look, I think suspension of disbelief is a good thing, and I think sometimes people overthink, like too much. But sometimes when you're actually building a world or a solar system in this case, and you are thinking about things, like your mind goes there, and so that's kind of the only reason that I wouldn't go with two suns, because it crossed my mind earlier in the evening, actually, because I was like, oh, but it would be cool if, like, we could still have this backlit but still have her lit, but I was like, no, but that would need two suns, and then would they really be on either side of the planet? Because I guarantee if it was that kind of a scenario, then the planet or the moon would have been ripped apart being between two suns, right? I'm like, no, so that can't happen. Anyway, let's throw down some color, because that's what we gotta do here. And actually, chances are I'm gonna want a wet mix, but I don't want the linen texture. So what did I do with this one on the texture? I just kicked the depth way down, I think. Right? There. There. Yeah, okay, that depth is max. Yeah, okay, cool. Easy, easy, easy. I want the wet and the color. And we'll just kick that. Way way down. Still doesn't look the same. Ah, okay, it is. That's weird. It should have altered that mark that was there already. And it didn't. Procreate. Behave. Damn it. All I want to do is paint a sky. Jeez. Go a little brighter on this yellow to really get that luminosity, but I want to basically get a color in there and then knock in the skyline, and once I get that contrast, that'll give me a kind of clear picture of where all this stuff is going. Oh man, yeah. You think Luke just had like crazy melanoma? Like stunted his growth or something? The two sons? Made him look like an angry little hobbit? Oh wait, that was the cocaine. What is? I like Mark Hamill. He's rad. He's such a good voice actor. I might end up going a little darker toward the top, though I do want the sky to be luminous, so there's a good chance I'm actually going to go brighter with it. And it'll be fun because I'll get the skyline in here. And eventually, it'll be a kind of a last little details kind of thing, but I'll get like a nice hot sort of a, contour around with just where that light bleed is creating a nice hot bit. It'll be cool, I think. I hope. Alright, so there's our wet mix brush. Okay, so I have one of the those Ring doorbells, right? And when you get that, you're then on like the Ring network, right? So you get all these notifications from people like being like, "Hey, watch out! There's this creepy person that's been I saw them walking down the street and testing cars to see if there were any open and whatever." So you get stuff like that. The one you get most often though is, "Oh my God, gunshots in this area. Did anyone else hear gunshots?" And then you just have like 50 responses being like, "Dude, it's a backfire. It's cars backfiring." Like it's not gunshots, or it's like, "Dude, it's fireworks," because they love their fireworks here, even though it's not 4th of July. Yeah. And then the best is people freaking out about coyotes. As though there's some, like, rabid pack of wolves. Apparently someone got chased all over San Marino by a pack of coyotes. Like, I'm willing to bet you are exaggerating. So I'm pretty sure coyotes are not going to do that. And then someone else insisted that they were wolves, that there was a pack of wolves in, I think it was either Alhambra or Highland Park. And we're like, oh my god, there are no wolves here. Sorry to burst your bubble, dude. I wish there were wolves here. That would be awesome. I would love that. Alright, let's do our... Get a thing of the color here. It doesn't matter too much. I'm gonna probably mess around with it, but I think I want it to be fairly warm. Cat hair everywhere, tickling my nose. So let's go fairly warm with this. I don't know why. I really don't know why this screen. It's been doing it a lot just in this session, like darkening and lightening. I've never had it do it this much before. I don't like it. I don't like it. Alright. Alright. Now this is purely for silhouette. We're gonna come back and refine colors and do all kinds of craziness. But this is just so that I can see what the hell my shapes are doing. No need to overthink this stuff too much at this phase, especially with, like, you know, if you want a little bit of like organic kind of feel to a city, you know, because cities tend to, while yes, there are city planners, I also feel like there is an aspect in which they grow out of necessity, and there is a little bit of an organic feel, you know, even though they will be structured and all that stuff, but I think that has more to do with layout, not as much to do with skyline, right? If we really think about it, skylines, there's no way to totally plan those, right? Because buildings will pop up as needed. So the approach that I actually tend to take with this, let's get on to our... I tend to like to use the same eraser and brush so that the marks kind of match up. I'm almost out of scotch. That's okay. Whoops. So what I tend to do is just mess around until I find a skyline I like. Then I just have to alpha lock it, and then I can kind of push and pull values, you know, and all that stuff, and it can actually go pretty quick. So alpha locking in Procreate just means you lock the pixels that are there, so it will not change their shape or opacity, but you can change the color all you want, right? So it can be a very easy way to start to kind of mess with pushing and pulling, right, for atmospheric perspective and all that. By the way, I still like the idea of having some of these buildings having like some green space either on the roofs or even some of those crazy garden walls and that kind of thing, because it just sort of makes sense to me that people would do that on a planet that cannot yet or like could grow a forest or something, but maybe a decent forest would be some years off still. And you want to make sure you give yourself some little details. I know this is probably small for you guys, but I'm intentionally keeping it small for myself too, because we're not in the detail phase just yet. So I think maybe this building will be closer to her, and we can get and the other thing, and I'm sort of ignoring this, by the way, is that cities don't tend to usually be laid on a perfect grid, right? Some of them are. But usually what happens is you have a portion of it, maybe that's like a perfect grid, and then there are other parts that are a little more organic with streets that kind of wind around or come in at weird angles, right? Like, I mean, even in New York, you get some very acute angles on some of those streets, and I'm like, who decided this was a good idea? This does not adhere to anything else. Right, the Flatiron building is like that wedge shape. So all I'm doing right now, and the reason I'm kind of like gotta make sure that doesn't end up looking like the Avengers building. All I'm doing right now is sort of giving myself the potential to have some buildings that are much further off, you know, and that's kind of what I'm thinking with some of these. I was looking at that shape, and I was like, what is that? I'm like, oh yeah, that's the railing that I put in there. So I want to give that some space. Plus, I think I want to have this feel a little like the landscape that it's on is maybe a little organic, you know, so I don't want it to just be like totally flat. Because so in this universe, you know, part of what they do is they'll dump, like they'll move in the terraforming technology, right? And kind of let that do its thing for a while. Then they'll bring colonists in, right, to then start to sort of do some of the things that require that human touch, I guess you could say. You know, and to start to kind of upkeep the technology that's in there. But those colonists, essentially that's where a lot of the different towns and stuff start to pop up, and they do what I'm calling box towns, right? It essentially, like, just imagine, you know, almost like a shipping container type of idea, right? Those tiny homes and that sort of thing, like literally something you could order online that's modular, so you can kind of like design it, and it's all just like these set boxes that you can customize to a certain degree that just fit together. So it'll literally get like dropped, right? Like a drop ship just brings these containers, and you almost like unfold your sort of house or shop or whatever the hell you're going to use these different boxes for. So most of these cities and towns got started that way. So but like if they're a more developed city now, the original box town ends up being more of like the slums kind of, right? So all the slums have this sort of shipping container kind of vibe, you know, and the way that they'll kind of get built on top of each other. So there might be an aspect of that. I don't know if I want to get that in here. And I think a lot of times, like, it is that way closer to the terraformers, because these things are loud and it's a constant drone and vibration that's happening, and any of the rich people don't want to live with that. So I think I need to get a much better organic shape happening on this. I think I need to think about, right, because you'll get a lot of that detail on the initial steam as it's getting pushed out, but then it'll start to form into these larger billows usually. So you gotta keep that kind of in mind. And I might even have some of it kind of wisping away. So we'll get that really detailed stuff there. Guess that's what our smudge tool is good for, huh? Never underestimate the power of the smudge. You want cloudy, wispy vibes? Smudge tool got you. But that's feeling too... So now the sky overall feels too light, right? So let's layer. It to be too saturated though. No. Apocalypse! No apocalypse. Yeah, and we'll need to get more it's gonna affect the whole thing. We'll recolor manually, but I just want to get the lighting, the value, what I want. brush are we on here? Might be a little too saturated. And the plume of steam is gonna be like backlit, so that thing will be lighting up pretty good. North Art 15. What's good? Doing art for fun is good. Makes me happy. So to make this work too, like the green is going to be a little sketchy. So usually it just involves finding a good in-between color, right? So if we think between that kind of yellowish and the purple, we can either have blue or we can have red. Either one will tie them together. If we go red though, because red is a good in-between color, right? Between yellow and purple, because it mixes with both cleanly. But if we go red, you can see it starts to have not only somewhat more sunset vibes, but also maybe feels a little too rainbowy, right? So in that regard, it might be better to go with a blue. It kind of limits the amount of color that's in the sky, right? We don't want to overdo that. At least I don't want to overdo it. Not for this scene. I don't want to go too crazy. And that's essentially the way to avoid getting colors too muddy, right? If you have two colors, yellow and purple, are opposite, they're just gonna gray out, you know, or get brownish if you mix them directly. So you need a kind of medium color, right? Something that acts as a kind of vehicle between the two. So that's what we're doing. And you can see, value-wise, the brightest color we're gonna get is right about there, right? Value-wise, if you want something to feel bright, you get that greenish yellow in there, and it'll feel like light. And that's the brightest color that you can get, brightest color you can mix on a palette, you know, with actual paints. If you put white, it's just gonna flatten out, and you don't want that, right? Like if we not a color. Do I have a normal one? Jeez, I just went all crazy with these. I'm like, I just want to. Oh, there we go. Right. So if I go all the way white, it instantly flattens that out, and it's terrible. Never use straight white in a painting ever. Okay. Never ever. Hello. Now I would love it if you would color pick. Whenever I can pick the color myself. Go a little more yellow with it. So I'm still in the, it's looking a little, you know, obviously like kind of banded and weird, and I should think about whether I want clouds in the sky or not. I kind of don't for this one. But maybe we should, since there's a giant cloud getting like pumped into the sky artificially. We could, but we can always add those later. I don't really want to. Smudge tool is our friend. Alright. With this, let's do. Okay. I think. The green space stuff, I think I can add after I kind of get this city doing what I want it to do, so let's get back to it. Get back to it. So now whoa, giant. Now it's just kind of like getting some of the details in here, right? Which just means little tiny brush, refining, and like I want this to have a bit of painterliness. Also, let's bring our where's our reference? Why? Come back, reference. We like you. We want to be able to see. Oh, canvas, what? Oh, I see. I can choose a canvas or an image. Well, yeah, canvas. That's cool. Can I bring that back? Or I just choose and then that's it? Whatever. Whatevs! This way we can still keep an eye on our skyline. I do want a little bit of a vibe that this is not your typical kind of Earth city, so maybe we can get into some different angles and whatnot. Right? Nothing says sci-fi like giant pyramids. No, we can't do that. Blade Runner already did. Little things. Might actually switch brushes for this, for the little detail shit. Give us a little more control on our line. Right, now, I mean, these details are so small, but I feel like they make a difference, especially when you're looking out into the distance, you know, to have these kinds of things. they do. Or what the details mean. Oh my god. Eventually I'll want to get some smaller plumes of who knows what, of industrial plumes. Smoke and steam and whatever else they're pumping out into the atmosphere. One of the things I love in New York is all the water towers, right? Because the way that the water system works there, it's all gravity based, so they have to have all these water towers up on the roofs to be able to get the necessary water pressure. Here, like where I am, we've got a big, huge water tower up on the top of the hill that I think kind of drives the water pressure for a lot of the town. These are literally like random shapes. I just want something that feels good, you know, industrial and interesting, hopefully. Start to kind of refine some of them, get rid of some of the curves unless they're very, very deliberate. Right. Because we can have some curved shapes. There's no reason we can't. Erasing back in is a great way to get little details as well that are sometimes harder to specify with just brushing. I feel like the eraser can really refine some of those shapes. I feel like I'm gonna need to get another building that's in perspective here. They can't all just be like perfectly flat to us, right? I mean, they could. We just happen to have that perfect vantage point, which is a little too convenient sometimes. Gotta be careful with that. do like the idea of some water towers, by the way. You know, I feel like some technologies just like, if they're simple and kind of foolproof in a way, like they might not go out of vogue. Especially like in certain scenarios, like it might be easier to just do it this way than it would be to like create an entire infrastructure to handle it. Especially with the way that I imagine these cities and towns and whatnot like popping up, you know. I feel like some people would start towns without any kind of like government approval. They just don't want to deal with the shit that the cities are gonna bring. So then they just go somewhere else, you know, that's like further out of town and just use what they can and build what they can. Do some more box homes and whatnot. So these are the things that I'm trying to think about and consider and see if I can get something that feels, I don't know if plausible is the word. Possible, I guess. I bet it's super interesting watching me paint this little skyline. Well, the skyline's almost done. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. Then we'll just get into like starting to push and pull the atmosphere and kind of watch it come to life a bit. I really want to throw like the light and stuff on that Steam, but I'm not yet sure how kicked back that atmosphere is going to be. So I'm avoiding it right now. I'm not avoiding it, it's just not ready. Gesture controls don't respond. Okay. Can't tell if it's my iPad just like getting old. I don't feel like it's that old, but it is a Gen 2, which I think is a 2017? 2016? But I'm like ordered all the parts for a new computer, so I'm like, no, I don't want to get a new iPad 2, not yet. I'm not ready. Too much money just out the door, and I don't like it. Almost done with this shit. And what I might do also, once I start kind of getting this stuff, I may... I was going to say I may get a building that's a little closer that breaks that skyline a bit, but maybe not. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of that kind of taller building to the left either. Let's just really quick, just for shits and giggles, see. Yeah, that doesn't quite give the vibe of the city that I want either, so no, we'll keep it. We'll keep it. Well. So I want this one to have like a couple of green walls at the top. That'll be kind of a fun chance to like break up the silhouette, you know, in an interesting way. And this one will probably be the closest building. It's basically just simultaneous contrast, like separating it from the sky up here. So weird. Weird. All right, reference. Go away for now. Clipping mask. And let's play with some of this stuff. And this ground plane, or you know, the roof, we're gonna want to catch that kind of cool ambient light. But just to set up our shape a bit here. Get some other values playing, right? Remember, we've got some like potted plants and stuff that people have put up here, so don't want to forget those. By the way, as always, anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask, and I will do my best to answer. And I'll do my best to pay attention to the chat. So I'm just going to use clipping masks to kind of start to get some layers in the city. place these railings properly. How about that? Might be a good thing. Shit. Tangents, gotta love them. I thought about doing like a kind of nicer railing, but I'm like, no, I don't want it to be all like fancy. You know, this doesn't quite fit. A little more industrial. So we might go a little darker with this, I think. A little more saturated for the now. Yeah, we're gonna have to get darker. Pop that shit forward. Because we want room to play. Obviously, there's a lot of room to play if we look at that city skyline and the value of the sky. Right? Like, I mean, huge difference. So we can get lighter with some of that stuff back there. But I also want plenty of room to play, knowing that the sun is not up yet, so shit can get pretty dark, and it's fine. So we might even do the same thing with her. Darken her up a bit. Yeah, so this is a lighting scenario where I can actually play with like pretty much a full range of values. And I probably will by the end. I mean, almost. I'm not gonna get any pure white in here. And if any pure black happens, the nice thing is I have the bars at the top and bottom, which are black, so I can always keep an eye on that and decide whether I ever want to go quite that dark. I usually try to avoid complete black or complete white. The only time it gets in there is if it's more through messing with like layer, blending modes and things like that. Sometimes like you don't have total control over that unless you want to go back in and paint something out or paint something in, whatever. But and we'll add another layer. Nice thing is we've got this color, and oh wait, I forgot I can keep my color palette out. Totally forgot about that. That was one of the things I was like, oh, if only I could do that. And I can do that. I can do it. So we've got that color, and then we have this color, so we can just go somewhere in between for now. And maybe we'll hit this one with that. Bring it a little closer. And we'll get some color because again that has a green wall and stuff, so I think we can get some color in there as well at some point. And let's go lighter. So trying to think in this particular scenario. I'm trying to think if I want to go lighter and cooler or lighter and warmer. I feel like cooler will kind of keep that. I know that whole sky is going to end up warming up though by the end. So let's go lighter and warmer. I want to get a warmer vibe happening. Obviously, we don't go warmer than red, but lighter and more saturated. It's essentially what I'm thinking here. Alright, let's get rid of this guy for now, because he ain't helping us. Alright, so we start to knock some of this stuff back. I want to knock this terraformer back for sure. And I'm going to cool this steam off too, by the way, eventually, so we get more into the lighting of it. Because then I'll come back in with some of the darker values and bring some kind of buildings just creeping up that are closer. For now, I just want to knock some of these back and just start to stagger things a little bit. Actually, we don't really need to worry about erasing because we'll paint back in. Let's cool off that steam a bit. And I don't want it to actually be darker because basically white, so it will be it'll be catching a lot of the bounce light, the ambient, bounce light, not bounce light, ambient light from the sky. and in this bottom part, it'll be a lot thicker, right? So you're not going to get as much light kind of refracting through it as you will like up top. Up top, it's going to be thinning out, and so we'll get a lot more light kind of playing around. Oh, I don't want an eraser. Color pick. That's okay. And so I'm gonna get into that in just a sec. And again, I'm a little hesitant to just jump right into that, but I can't help myself. And I want to get that steam vibe. Although I do want some more kind of wisps and stuff happening. So, alright, let's get those in there. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. Yeah, like we can get some that are just like kind of coming from a little closer or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Wispy. Wispy. I should actually do this on a separate layer and then merge it or something. Just so that I can smudge it around, and I'm not going to smudge the city. Like these kind of small bits mingling in with the larger plume. Just one more thing to kind of add scale to this. Right? Anything we can do to kind of make it feel big. Sure if that would mess up the clipping masks or not. So So let's get I think the best way to do this. And you know what? I think this does not need to be a clipping mask. That's how we'll do it. Keep trying to jump the gun here, and it's not quite ready. I was about to add the glow, like kind of around the steam, but like no, wait, let's get a bit more going on in our city. Make sure our atmosphere and all that shit is working. Stuff between us and refinery there. Color palette in thing. I'm like, I wanted to be able to keep my color palette out, but at the same time, you know, real estate is so precious in Procreate on the iPad. It's like you have so much space. Alright, let's add layer in here and get some glow on our steam. Nice golden glow. It's catching from the sun. I want like the stuff up here to really like be catching some light. So So it like really gets lit up, I think, as it like dissipates, or it like thins out a little bit, you know? Happening on those edges, so I have to figure that out. And I'll bring the smudge tool in and get this all feeling steamy and billowy. I think some of that stuff underneath is maybe a little dark, but we'll see. We'll see. It's a process. Smudgy Smudge is our friend. I'm feeling I'm gonna have to mess with the edges though a bit, because that sharp edge is popping through, so figure that out. Bugging me. Softening it. So like this is where I gotta be kind of careful because it will very quickly go all the way to white with the add layer, and don't really want that. It's one of the reasons I tend to keep the color a little darker on the add layer so that it gives me a little room to wiggle room. But if it does go to white in some, yeah, see, I don't like. Weird. Ugh, see, that is so close to white. Don't like it. Bad. Even though real world scenario could totally happen, right? You get light refracting that much. It's possible. It's possible. Detaily, cloudy shapes in there, right on the edge. Feeling this is still feeling a little too much like smoke, so we are going to have to lighten it up even more and probably get a nice like clean kind of a color in there. Oh god, kill this thing. See, something gets like really, it gets really warm, the iPad does, and then the touch, there's a section where the touch just stops working. It's really annoying. So let's do, I want to go, I'm going to cool this off. And lighten it up a bit. So that this can hopefully start to feel a little more like steam. Basically just wanting to avoid the kind of like brownish gray color, so that's why I'm cooling it off. I feel like cooler colors when we get toward gray just look cleaner than warm colors going toward gray do. Of the color, right? Because when we're desatting a warm color, it's basically cooling off the color already, but it's like forcing it kind of, whereas cool colors kind of naturally work with that. And it's not to say that warm colors don't. Obviously, you can put a desatted warm next to a saturated cool and it's still gonna look really warm and probably fairly clean, I imagine. this starts to feel a little more clean. That's what we want. Right, pristine. I want to hint at the sun kind of just below where we can see, right? Get that light bleed happening back there. Wrong with a little flare. Alright. Tasteful flare. Something this size, I don't want too much of it like flattening out, right? So if I have too large of areas in this plume that are kind of just the same value, even though you can't, like, you can get a really nice large even gradation in like clouds and stuff when the sun is refracting within them. But you gotta be careful that it doesn't make it start to feel smaller. Right. So I'm just usually, you know, if we're dealing with clouds, they're so far away that we don't have to get as many little details in, because I think our brain just assumes like, oh yeah, well, they're many miles away, so, and we know what that looks like. But I feel like something like this, which is like the size of a cloud, but much, much closer, kind of maybe gives us some other things to think about and consider. Bedtime reminder. Just want to get this in a good place, feeling like I can, you know, come back to it easily and it won't be bugging me like, oh man, I gotta do this and this and this. I think some of these other things of like smoke and stuff I imagine are closer, so perspective wise maybe they're not actually catching the light yet. This one I think maybe would be just like up here potentially. We'll try it out and see. Won't take but a minute. Honestly, this is already like getting in some way is like moving toward being much tighter than I originally kind of envisioned, but that's okay. That's okay. I do feel like come on, give me that color. This thing is so big that there might potentially be just a little atmospheric difference between the part that's closer to us and as it curves away. You know, maybe. We'll see. Feel like I'll still need to get into some little details and then figuring this thing out a little bit. But I'm not sure how sharp I really want some of these edges to be, because you know, as things move further away, then that fidelity is kind of gone, right? So it might not make a whole lot of sense to have like some really sharp edges here, but I don't know. I'm kind of just making this shit up as I go, so whatever. Probably look at pictures of like volcanoes and see what happens to the edges of things, you know, from that far off with a bunch of steam and smoke and gases and shit wreaking havoc on everything. Oh, okay. Sky is bugging me though. I'm not sold on that sky at all. I think I might end up warming up that sky a bit. Ugh, it's too rainbow. Too rainbow. Something about that magenta just ain't working. Just really wants to go magenta, doesn't it? Crazy. And then we can always refine that with another layer here. Let's pick a color that we like and maybe go, oh geez, that one really cool. Or what? Let's warm that up. Makes it start to feel so monochromatic though. Shit. I think we're just missing a little bit of darker tone up here, maybe. Ugh, too saturated. I think that overlay layer lightened it too much. So let's play with our colors that are here. Maybe a bit of that. That's looking just a little muddy. Yeah, it might be a little too saturated. I think we just gotta get rid of that purple. It just wasn't doing it for us. So we might actually be able to still use our overlay. Alright, sometimes you just can't cheat stuff. You just gotta figure it out and paint it for real. Well, you know, for real, digitally. That's okay. That's why we do this, right? Because we like color challenges. Sure, it would be easier if I just looked up pictures of a sunrise, but I've seen a sunrise, right? We've seen sunrises. We can get there. I will actually look up pictures though, just to see. Okay. So I kind of like the darker stuff that was happening. May want to get some heat in that sky to balance out like what's happening in the steam and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. That. I think it's working. Word. Alright. I think I am going to call it. It's time for bed. Long day ahead. So thank you everyone for joining me tonight as I stumbled and struggled through this. Let's see where we started. Still ended up going with our first idea, right? Tried some others. Went back. We're like, selfie. No, no selfie. Thought maybe jogging, that was boring. And maybe doing her free run, but wasn't really feeling that. So went back to her. Alright, sketch her out. Got her colors. Yeah, I wonder if I should go back to that green. Oh, it's so bright, but maybe I might. It's not out of the question. City, city, city. Steam. Steam. In the time-lapse replay, it always looks way more. I don't know why it darkens and saturates. I don't know why it does that. It's annoying though. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go back to that green. And just as a placeholder reminder, I did kind of pretty carefully consider that color, so I suppose I shouldn't be too surprised that, hey, it worked. Yeah. There's our sunrise. Better. Love it. Weird. Get just a little bit more heat right there in the mids. Yeah, cool. All right, now I'm done. All right. Thank you. I will be back on Monday. Can't stream Saturday. Too much work. Got to work right through the weekend. One of those weeks. But we'll see you on Monday. But not you, Autumn, because you stream Mondays. So you do your stream. I'll do my stream. Okay. All right, brother. I'll talk to you in the morning. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Y'all have a good night, good day, whatever time zone y'all might be in. And we'll catch you Monday. All right.